Well, I really was crazy. Yeah, that's very different. But yeah, that's a very different thing. And I take pedophiles especially; they are repeat offenders. They will go out and do it again. So I had a real problem with that crime, especially with having 3 sons.
Over here.
Yes.
Hey, do you think that the court's purpose is to protect the majority from the minority, or protect the minority from the majority?
Probably the majority from the minority, because there's only about, what did they say, 5 or 10% of our population that will ever even go be arrested. And so I feel as if, you know, I don't want my rights trampled on just because I'm in the majority and I go to work every day and I follow the laws and everything. I mean, I think people need to feel safe in their homes, and they feel like, you know, I guess I can see what you're saying, but I don't think that our court, that should matter. I think it should matter, did the person commit the crime, and should they be held accountable for their actions? And I think as a judge, I don't know that I can think about that philosophically. I think that I mostly have to just focus on applying these facts of this law, you know, as efficiently as possible. And so I hope I've answered your question.
Oh, you've answered.
Okay.
Chris?
One really simple question. What are some, like, 1 or 2 compelling reasons why we'd want to go in there and pull the lever for you over the other 2 individuals?
I think that my experience makes me the best candidate. And by saying that, I am the only candidate, to my knowledge, that's ever prosecuted a capital murder. I'm the only candidate, to my knowledge, that's ever prosecuted a felony. And the reason why that's important is because some of the evidentiary rules between criminal and civil are different. They just are. And when I was a prosecutor, I only lost 1 felony my entire career as a prosecutor. And during the time that I was a prosecutor, none of my cases that I was first chair on were reversed. I am personally tired of judges all around the state that don't take that very seriously. Because if a case is reversed, you and I pay for the appeal, the new court-appointed attorney, we pay for the next trial, and possibly a defendant who's committed a heinous crime walks out the door. So when you talk about civil things, it's over a dispute and it needs to be heard. But when you're talking about criminal cases, it's so serious that if it's a reversal, the defendant walks out in our community. So I think that for that reason, based on my experience as a criminal attorney in private practice and as a prosecutor, I think that makes me more qualified for this court.
Can I ask another question? Did I understand right, this court also does family matters?
Currently, 95% criminal for this court. The other judges got together, it's my understanding, and they said, we have such a problem in Montgomery County, our population is through the roof, and criminal filings are way up. Civil filings, including family and other types of matters, civil disputes, are down. So they made this court basically essentially a criminal court. It can hear everything, it's general jurisdiction, but the other judges got together and made it criminal because of the problems we're having.
Yeah, I believe we have time for one last question.
Okay.
Question 1, dealing with nullification. You said the Texas state legislatures create laws, and it's the job of the judge to apply laws to the facts of the case. So in light of that, could you kind of expand your views on jury nullification and also, I guess, the judge's duty in that regard?
I think it's the judge's duty to apply the law. I don't always agree with everything our legislators do, I'm going to tell you honestly, especially when it comes to illegal aliens getting automatic probation. That's one area I could just use an example. But when you talk about a jury of 12 people, I think it's very, it can be very scary if a jury nullifies just by saying not guilty the person who's guilty. I think that if a person is guilty, they need to be held accountable for their actions. And I've never personally had jury nullification. I've always had jurors that were seemed very sharp and really did a good job. Especially here in Montgomery County, we're very lucky here. We have good juries.
So this follow-up question is, why the jury is the person who decides whether they're guilty or not guilty. So why do you have a presupposition that they're guilty?
I don't have a presupposition that they're guilty. I know that probably was what it sounded like. What I'm saying is, Sometimes a jury will come in, for instance, I'll give you an example, real fast. Possession of marijuana case. Every time as a prosecutor you're picking a jury, you have people on there that say they think that marijuana should be legalized, okay? Well, what I always say is, you know, that's perfectly okay to have that opinion if that's your opinion, because you want jurors, prospective jurors, to be honest with you. But the legislature has made this a crime. So can you sit on this case honestly and listen to both sides and apply the law to the facts? What will happen sometimes is you have people get on the jury that have not quite been as forthright as maybe they should have, and they have a preconceived notion that they think that marijuana should be legalized. And then what they do is they find the person not guilty, not because they think that the person didn't commit the crime. They're doing that because they think that they don't agree with the law. So that's the short answer.